What's up, do life in a body you love chicks? Today is going to be all for you if you are having a hard time getting started on taking action on your goals, or you're kind of kicking the can down the road. You know, you're doing a little bit of procrastination. And I specifically want to talk about one phrase that will wreck your whole journey. And I hear people say it all the time, and not just about health, right? But we're going to talk about health today. But I hear people use this phrase when it comes to starting their own business, making a career change, prioritizing, like doing a little bit of cleanup in their marriage, whatever it is that needs to happen. We use this phrase. And I used to say it all the time. And I can see now, looking back, how completely toxic and detrimental this phrase was on my own journey. And so now when I hear it, it drives me crazy. I want to shake y'all when I hear anybody saying this, right? Just want to shake you and be like, no, which is kind of dramatic, but I want you guys to get unstuck. Okay. And so, before we jump in, if you guys are liking the podcast, if you can leave me a review wherever you listen, or if you watch on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop me a comment, let me know what you're thinking. That all helps this get shared. Okay. So anyways, back to the regularly scheduled show. Here's the phrase. You guys ready? You're going to roll your eyes at me and you're going to go, yeah, I already know, but it's deeper than you think. Okay. So here's the phrase. Now's not the right time. That's the phrase we're going to talk about today. Now's not the right time, or I don't have time for that. Okay. So first of all, it's BS. It's total BS. In most cases, there are exceptions to the rule, but they're few and far between. And this is going to be a little bit of a tough love one. All right, ladies. So I usually save the tough love for my paying clients, but I think that this is really, really important. So know that this is all said in love. It's a loving foot up your butt, but let's talk this out. So if the goal is that you want to lose weight, it might be true that now's not the right time. I'm going to let some of you off the hook right now. It depends on what your definition of weight loss is. But before I even go there, I just want to say it is always the case that we can be prioritizing our health. Okay. If we have some super aggressive goals to get like really, really lean and get on a stage in a bikini and all that, no, timing matters. There is a time and a place for that. You've got to be in the right headspace, place. You have to have the right support system in place, but that's a different thing. And that's not most of you who are listening. Okay. So just know that I'm not speaking about that. And I do recognize that there's a time and place for most things, but in the context of just kicking the can down the road to take action on our health and on healthy weight loss, it is always the case that it's BS when we tell ourselves that we don't have time for it. Now, more than a procrastination, here's why it's so detrimental, you guys, because what it's doing is telling our brain that this isn't a priority. That's literally what we're saying to ourselves. So it's more than just, I'm going to tackle this next month after the holidays, or I'm going to do this after X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's procrastinating and it's not smart. And we'll talk about that. But really why it's detrimental is because it's saying this isn't a priority. And so what are you really saying to yourself if you're saying that your health isn't a priority? That's a pretty bold statement, right? And it's true for many women. And I don't say any of this in judgment because it was true for me for a long time. You guys, I did not care about my health, especially when I was younger and I had little kids in my house and I was going to nursing school and all of these things. I didn't care about my health. The reality is that it wasn't a priority for me, but I would say things like, well, now's not the right time because I had all these other things that were going on. What was true was that it wasn't a priority for me. Okay. But even once it became a priority for me, once I had put on way more weight than I was comfortable with, and I had all this like weird autoimmune things going on, it was now a priority, or I felt like it was, but my actions were not saying that it was. I kept kicking the can down the road and saying, now's not the right time. And it seemed valid. I did have a lot of things going on, but here's what's true. I had time to lose weight. I had time to treat my body better. There's multiple reasons why we think that we don't have time, and it's not true. Number one, are you prioritizing the hours in your day that you do have well? And so to me, my priorities are always my relationship with God, my own health, my family. Like those are the big ones, right? Now my business, it's on the list, of course. But those are the big things. So then sometimes you got to do a little bit of an audit and you got to get real with yourself, because wherever you're putting your focus and attention, that is your priority. It doesn't matter what you say. Actions speak louder than words, and your actions say what your priorities are. Now, it is the case that many of you have super busy schedules. It is also the case that many of my friends who tell me how busy they are and how they don't have time for X, Y, and Z send me, I can't tell you how many TikTok videos every day. I watch 0 of them, by the way. If you are one of those people who's sending me videos, I love you. You can keep sending them. It doesn't distract me. I just go, oh, that's cute. She's still watching TikTok today. What's going on there? So if you have time for TikTok and you have time to scroll social media and you have time to even listen to this podcast, I'm not trying to discourage you from listening to the podcast, obviously. I hope that this is actually helpful for you living your life better. That's the goal of this. But here's my point. If you have time for all that, you certainly have time to cook a healthy meal, because it doesn't need to be very time consuming. So there is, are we using the time that we have well? And if we're getting sucked into things that are like grabbing our attention, you guys have talked about this so much. Like our attention is a commodity. It is sold. Like you paying attention on an app, that information is literally sold. Like how crazy is that? And so they are very, very smart at keeping our attention, right? So it's not that you're like, yeah, TikTok's more important than my health, but you get sucked into it. And you have to find a way to stop getting sucked into it and prioritize your time, right? So whatever else is getting your time and attention, if you have truly a busy schedule, you don't waste time on social media, what is on your list of things that is occupying your time all day? And are those things more important than your health? Yes or no? You have to just get real with it. Like it is good for you to volunteer for the PTA and do all of these other extracurricular things, whatever. I'm just like making random things up here, right? Those are good. If it means that you literally don't have time to cook yourself a healthy meal or your family a healthy meal, is it more important? Is that PTA meeting more important? Like, come on now. Now, here's the other thing. Sometimes we're making what we think we're going to have to do, we're turning it into this big thing, and it's not. So that can be part of the issue too. So one is the time management piece. One is the expectation piece. What is it going to take for you to prioritize your health? We all tend to think that we have to do these grandiose things to lose weight, let's say. And it's not true at all. I baby step my clients, but we go for the low-hanging fruit. We do the things that are actually going to impact their health. So for some people, they need to drink more water. For most people, that's not actually what's going to take weight off of their body. So we don't focus on that. Very few people need to actually be worrying about eliminating salt out of their diet, right? Instead, it's like, actually, we need to do this, this, and this. This is what your metabolism's saying. And these things are easier. So just go do these things, right? So you can hit your weight loss goals. You can improve your health. You can do all of these things with things that actually don't take any more time at all. Is the craziest thing. Like some of the meals and the ways that I have my clients like doing things in the kitchen is actually less time consuming than what they're doing now. So many people, myself included, when I was super busy, it was like, I didn't plan anything for dinner. We just got to go get some takeout. Well, by the time you either call and order the food, you go pick it up, you get back home, that wasn't fast. You had time to make a meal. Right. And so giving people structure to follow that actually is less time consuming can get weight off of your body. So if you're saying that this isn't the time for me to do this right now, because you think you have to go to the gym for an hour every day and you have to meal prep for 3 hours every day and live in the kitchen and cook your family separate meals, and you think all of these things have to happen, then it's just like an untrue expectation of what it's going to take. There is a better way to word that, but y'all get where I'm going with that, right? A very famous one right now is, well, this isn't the right time because the holidays are coming, which cracks me up. Here's why. Real talk, ladies. I love you all, okay? But if you say that to me, My head wants to explode. Here's why. Number one, you don't need 6 weeks of binge fest to celebrate the holidays. Can we get real here? Thanksgiving is one day. Christmas Eve is a holiday for a lot of people, and then Christmas Day, and then New Year's. So we have in this like 6-week time frame 4 days that are actually the holiday that we celebrate. So is it the case that you can't like treat your body well on all the rest of those days and be really slacked on the holiday itself and have a really good time? Like, what? Because wait a minute, because there's 4 days coming up here that you want to be able to eat whatever you want. Then the rest of the days are just crap. And you're going to just kick this can down the road until New Year. And then what's going to happen? Because that's what I know that a lot of you are saying that in your brain right now. I'm going to tackle it for the New Year. After the holidays, I'm going to get so fit. Well, here's all the evidence that you need that ain't true, because you probably said it last year and here we are, right? Real talk. So everybody says they're going to get real in January. Guess what happens in January? All of your same mindset issues follow you into the new year, and you do the same thing on repeat. How many years has it been happening, boo? How many years? Because it was a lot of years for me. I was making the same New Year's resolution every single year for years, because there is no weight loss magic that just happens in January. And if you can't pull it together, during the holidays, you're not going to pull it together in January either. I promise you, because the holidays have literally nothing to do with you losing weight or not losing weight. Your plan for losing weight and getting healthy needs to include you being able to celebrate, you being able to have a sugar cookie if that's what you want. I want a Christmas wreath cookie. Do you guys know about those? Anyways, now I'm thinking about all my holiday treats that I can't wait to have. Like, you have to be able to enjoy food guilt-free and still hit the number on the scale that you want to see. Like, that all has to happen. And so if that's the way that your plan is set up, if your plan doesn't suck and it's not super time consuming and it's not super restrictive, and you don't have to eat like a food zealot, you don't have to go to your holiday parties and be like, I can't have that, I'm on keto, it's too many carbs. Like, you don't have to be the person there saying those things. You can just like go and be a regular person who like eats what she wants within reason and still hits her goals. Like, how wonderful is that? And so the holiday coming up has nothing to do with the reason why you can't lose weight. It's a stall tactic. It's a stall tactic. Or, well, I can't, now's not the right time because the holidays, because I'm going to be spending so much money for the holidays. That's another thing. Okay. Well, losing weight is really not that pricey, but let's pretend like it was. Let's pretend like losing weight costs you a ton of money, which in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't. I mean, even if you're hiring a health coach, it's still in the grand scheme of things, like, to get a handle on this, it's saving you thousands upon thousands of dollars. But let's pretend like it was just going to cost you an astronomical amount of money to lose weight. If you knew you wouldn't fail, you'd pay it. You'd pay it. You'd find the money. Okay, here's what's true. People spend their money on what they value. And you value your health, but if you don't think it's possible for you, you're not going to spend money on it. So here's a trashy, for instance, I'll give you guys. When I was dirt poor, no money, guess what I was buying? Cigarettes. You know how expensive those are? You guys, I'm not that old, okay? I wasn't an adult when cigarettes were like $1.50 ever. They've been expensive since I became an adult. So I was spending money that I technically didn't have because I wanted those cigarettes. If you want to lose weight and you have the confidence that you can do it, you'd pay anything to make it happen if it's bothering you enough, right? So then that's a belief issue. You got to work on that. But it's not going to cost you $1 million to lose weight at all. Like, even if you bought your kid one less toy for Christmas and you used that money to go like buy some clean food and you guys were all eating better. Here's the interesting thing that happens to my clients. Nobody comes to me and says, I want to lose weight so that I have more patience with my children. Literally nobody has ever said that to me, but tons of people have gotten through the program and said, dude, even my family's like, you're so much better to be around. It's an attitude adjustment. You need an attitude adjustment? Get healthy. That's what does it. And here's why. It's like so intricate, right? So first of all, when you commit to yourself and you start showing up for yourself, your confidence immediately goes up. You don't even need the number on the scale yet to have more confidence. The fact that you're keeping your word to yourself, it changes your brain, ladies. It changes your brain. So there's that. Plus, then if your blood sugar levels aren't all over the place because we're changing the way that you're eating, right? You're eating in a way that stabilizes blood sugar. Now you're not crabby and you're not really low energy in like that afternoon time / after work, which is what, when you get home, and that's when your family gets you and they get the worst of you because you're exhausted. That was me forever. And then you're feeling guilty about that. Then you have mom guilt that you didn't have like the energy to play with the kids. And it's just such a vicious cycle. And then if we want to really nerd out, as you start to improve your core 4, you guys hear me talk about this all the time: food, movement, sleep, stress, right? That's the basis of a really good plan. And so when you start improving all of those things, guess what else improves? Your gut health. Guess what your gut health does? Impacts your brain and how your brain's working. And so patience, joy, happiness, all of that stuff, you guys, it's all interconnected. And so all of that long-windedness to say, I would much rather see women prioritize their health around the holidays than waste a bunch of money on commercialism to celebrate the holidays. That's just me. That's just my opinion. And it's not in judgment. If you spend millions and millions of dollars on Christmas for your kids, I love that. That's great. You do you. I'm just saying, getting healthy, not actually that expensive, not actually that time consuming. And really at the end of the day, it's a way better investment that your whole entire family will benefit from. So let's run through some questions that you can ask yourself to kind of put yourself in check on this, because our natural propensity, you guys are so annoyed listening to me today. I know that you are. And I'm sorry, and I love you. And I'm only pointing this out because I want you guys to take action on your goals. Don't kick the can down the road. The further you're kicking that can down the road, especially with your health, the bigger hole you're digging that you have to then climb out of. And so hopefully you get your act together before there are irreversible health issues that are already happening, right? And unfortunately, as a nurse who did ER and ICU for most of my career, that is what I saw when we get to the point where it's too late. And I had pushed my body pretty darn far. So I'm pointing the finger at myself, okay? No, I wasn't in the hospital, but I mean, my body was like in really rough shape for the fact that I was only like 30 years old. It was crazy how far I had pushed it. But nonetheless, a lot of people don't take things serious until there's almost a too lateness to it. I don't want that for you. Don't let that be your wake-up call. Today's your wake-up call. This is your sign. You're looking for a sign that it's time to get healthy. Here's your sign, boo. And it ain't in the new year. It's now. It's now. Commit to yourself now. So here's some questions. What is it that you want for your health? Is it a weight goal? Now, if it's a weight goal, then there's a couple of other things that we have to consider. So number one is, how aggressive is the weight goal? If you are already at a healthy weight, you're at a healthy, I hate the BMI scale, but I almost just said healthy BMI. Screw the BMI. We're all overweight on the BMI. Ugh, hate that thing. If you're at a healthy weight for you, we'll just word it like that, and you just want to get leaner, like you want to see some abs, you want to push your body from like a fitness standpoint, you want to figure all that out, okay, then maybe it's not the right time. You have to assess that with your coach, right? And like what's going on with your life and things like that. But if you have a weight loss goal and you have more than 20 pounds to lose, you can start today. You don't need an abundance of time. You don't need an abundance of stress management. That should be part of your plan though, right? But you don't need to go put your life on hold to get that done. So then we have to get realistic with our goal itself. How lean do I want to get? How much weight do I want to lose? What does that actually look like? To just get to a healthy weight does not require you weighing, tracking, measuring food, living in the gym. None of those things have to happen. Do I like tracking? Yes. I love counting macros because of what it does to my brain. And I use it with some of my clients and I don't use it with most of my clients because it's a mindset thing, but it's not required for most women, honestly. And so there are tweaks you can make to just your every day-to-day grind. You want to get leaner than that? It might mean you do have to weigh, measure, track, really manage stress, sleep. You might be at the party, not partaking in a lot of the things. And so, but if that's worth it to you, then fine. That's something you have to assess, right? So how aggressive do you want to be? Does that match the lifestyle that you want to live? I talk with a lot of women, and I fell into this category for a while too, that it was like, I want to be so lean, I probably lose my period. I want to look like I belong on Sports Illustrated, but I didn't want to live the life that required. And so then there's a disconnect between how do we want to live and how do we want to look? So first things first, you have to make peace with what is realistic for you. What can you really get your body to? Don't use this as an excuse to not take action and just say, well, this is just how my body is. That ain't what I'm saying. We can all get healthier, right? We can all, if we have more than 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds to lose, get a little bit leaner, and it won't be that aggressive. But like, make your goal match your life. And if you're not sure if those match, then let's talk. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. I tell women all the time that like, I'm not the right coach for you because X, Y, and Z, your goals don't match up with how you want to live. Not any way that I know how to get there anyways. Okay. And my methods aren't going to work for you. But like, you've got to pick your goal and then make peace with however much work that's going to take. What I know is that most women listening to this podcast, you actually need a much less strict plan than what you think you do. That's what's the reality for 90% of women that I speak to are making their plans harder than what they need to be. And that's part of the reason that they're struggling. So what's the goal? Do you have a goal that can match the kind of lifestyle that you want to live? Now, whatever the goal is. So let's say it's, I want to lose 20 pounds, have more energy. I just want to be healthier. I want to be less crabby with my kids. I just want to have this like healthy turnaround. Awesome. That's not that time consuming at all. How much do you value that? Do you value it enough to make time on your calendar for it? Again, if it's not very time consuming, like let's say you have to just like actually sit and like think about it or get on the call with your coach for a minute and have a conversation or whatever it is. Can you prioritize that time? Can you prioritize making meals at home 3 more days a week instead of going out if you had recipes that only took 20 minutes to cook that your kids would actually eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you value it enough to put whatever time is going to be required into it? If you don't, if you can legitimately say, no, this isn't a priority for me right now, which if you're saying you don't have time, that is what you're saying. Let's be extremely clear. Every single person has 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. Every single person has a very busy schedule. In fact, I have some clients who are retired and they struggle more with their time management than people who still have jobs. So time isn't the actual problem. It's time management, it's habits, it's consistency, it's all of these other things, right? But if you're saying that the things that currently exist on your calendar are more important than your health for right now, that's what we say. We don't like to say, no, of course, we say, of course, my health is my priority. It's just that right now I have this, and this happening. So I'm going to get to it when those are done. That's not true. If you're not going to get to it now, you're probably not going to get to it ever, right? Because how many other things were going on in the past where you said that and then didn't get around to it? And the reality is that our health and whatever that plan is going to look like for us, it needs to match the busiest seasons of our life. So here's a fantastic question that I want you to ask yourself. If you really feel like you can't prioritize your health right now because of circumstances, if your child who was an adult or your best friend came to you and they were so unhappy with the way that their body feels and they were worried about their health or whatever the case is, and they were just burning both ends of the candle, they're working really hard, they're very ambitious, they're go-getters, they're just go, go, go all the time, they're running their kids around to all of these different sports and just whatever the things are that are happening. And they said to you, well, I know that I need to prioritize my health, but I have to wait until blah, blah, blah. How would you feel about that? What would you say to them? If it were your adult child or your best friend whom you love very, very dearly. And so for you as an outsider, you value their health more than anything else that they have, right? You don't want your best friend or your child to end up ill because they're not taking care of their body, because they're grinding their career or letting their family life just run them ragged or whatever the things are. You as an outsider would be able to say, oh my gosh, no, please, you need to take care of your body right now. I'm so worried about you, blah, blah, blah. But then we don't apply the same thing to ourselves. And so I am guilty of this, by the way. That's how I know to ask myself this question. I go, if I'm kicking the can down the road and I'm really justifying how busy I am, I'm totally being a martyr to my schedule. And I'm like, well, I have this going on. I have this going on. I'm like, if it were my children who are adults now and I saw them living as busy as I am and not taking care of myself, would I be like, yeah, it's fine, son, just keep grinding. You'll get to your health when you get to it. No, I value their health more than anything else in their life other than them having a relationship with God, right? Aside from that, it is, I value their health for them. And I would tell them, you need to lighten your load then. Or we got to figure out how to make this work with your busy schedule because you need to take care of yourself now, right? We have to apply those same things to ourselves. Oof, feels bad, right? We don't want to. We don't want to sit and think about it. The other thing that you can do is sit and look at your calendar and go, what is getting all of my time? What are the things that are getting all of my time and attention? You can do a little time audit and see how are you really spending your time and where could you fit some different priorities in there. But if you're like, yeah, no, my health is definitely a priority, then look at your actions, my friend, because actions speak louder than words, right? And if you're not taking action on the things that we say are a priority, then they're not. Then we're not living it out. And that's when things feel very incongruent, is when we say something is important to us, and maybe it really is, but then we don't act congruently with that being a priority. That causes a lot of guilt, shame, disconnect. We're very unsettled. We're always thinking about getting started on the thing, right? But we're not doing it. So if you find yourself in this situation where you're just kind of not actually taking action on the things that you say are a priority, I want to encourage you today to take bold action. What do you need to really get out there and do the thing? Now, maybe it's your health, maybe it's not, maybe it's a different thing in your life. And all things aren't good for us to tackle in all seasons. Like, I use this example all the time. I'm sure you guys are sick of it, but like, I would love to have a prettier yard. Okay. I don't look like a total hillbilly, but my neighbors all have like these immaculate, beautiful flower beds, like flowers all over the place. Like, it looks like Better Home and Garden on my street because they're all retired school teachers. They have the time to do that. I don't have time to get out there and do that. So I want my yard to look nicer, but then I say, well, that would have to come at the cost of time with my family or for my health. And so the flowers, I guess they're going to have to wait. And then I make peace with it, right? So if there is something on your mind that really doesn't need to be a priority in this season, I'm not saying that you need to go make time to do everything that's in your brain. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's unrealistic. But if there is something that's a priority that you're kicking the can down the road, such as your health, and you're telling yourself after the holidays or in the new year or when the kids get older or whatever the thing is that you're saying, get real with yourself, boo. Is it true? Is it true that you can't do the thing now? If it's not true, then take bold action. What is it going to take to start making some shifts, making some moves? It's going to feel so good. Like you're going to feel so great. Even if you can't do your plan 100%, you're still going to be healthier if you give it 50%. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just got to get moving, right? If you need help coming up with a plan that will fit your busy schedule and that will give you the biggest bang for your buck, then reach out. I will help you with that. That is what I do. I strategize busy schedules. We figure it out. What does your metabolism want? What can you realistically do with your schedule? Let's make the things happen. But if you already know what you need to do and you don't need support with mindset, habits, blah, 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 but you've just been kicking the can down the road because of a time thing, and I want to encourage you to stop kicking that can down the road. Your health matters. It matters to you. It matters to your family. It matters to your friends. It's really, really quite important. So get yourself back on that priority list and stop all your stall tactics. And if you need help, reach out. And also, don't be mad at me for the Tough Love podcast episode this week. Message me and let me know. What do you guys think of this one? Is it getting you shifting the way that you're thinking about these things? I would love to know. And I will catch you all next week.